Just the tips.
All right, everybody, Adam here, New York Golf and Fitness, Just the Tips podcast, episode 97, just 3 away from the illustrious 100. Here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Andrew Deforest. What's going on, dude?
Not much.
Special
Thanks for
guest.
having me on.
Is it better than Romano? It's already better, right?
I'm just more handsome.
Well, listen, Mike couldn't be here with us tonight, and as New York Golf and Fitness rapidly gets close to opening up, Andrew's going to be a big part of what's happening over here. So we wanted to get him on the podcast, introduce them to those that don't know him, although many do, and I think we got something special to talk about today. So I'm looking forward to
excited.
it. So for those who don't know, Andrew, PGA Professional here at the Swan and in Saugerties, New York. How long you been at the Swan?
Wrapping up year 2.
Year number 2.
Yeah.
How long you been a PGA Pro?
About 8 years I've been in the business on this side of things, yeah.
And come from an illustrious golfing family. Dad was on the PGA Tour and was a longtime professional at the Rondout Country Club. Brothers were prolific golfers themselves. In the pecking order of Deforest, there's 5 boys. Where are you on the list?
I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle. So
yeah.
I know there's John and Chris. And then Andrew.
Then Ben and Ethan.
Ben and Ethan?
Yeah.
Where, and we can edit this out, but where's Ben and Ethan these days? So I don't see him around.
Ben's out in L.A. and Ethan's in Columbus. My 2 older brothers are still local and members at Wiltwick and play a little golf here and there. But I would say that everyone's golf game's fallen off a lot since high school and college.
That's funny, man. So long story short, though, I met your dad back in 1988. I was washing dishes at Rondout Country Club for I think it was $3.95 an hour. We got to raise to $4.25 an hour, and the cart kid, I think that was his first year. The cart kid had moved, and they needed somebody to run carts, and I much preferred doing that to washing dishes, and then got a chance to work with your dad at Rondout for 5 summers.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and got a chance to babysit Johnny. That was good, and your mom took good care of me, so that was awesome. But you grew up in the shadows of the willow trees at Rondout, right?
Yeah, that was our free daycare, I guess. I mean, that's where we had to be when we didn't have school or another sport going on or something. I mean, that's where we had to be.
That's it, man. So, my first recollections of Rondout were we didn't grow up as a golfing family. We played Little League and, we watched the Mets and the Giants on football, but nobody in my family played golf. And when I got this job washing dishes, my parents would have to drive us up there. And I remember the course just being so green and the property being so big. And I saw when you came up, when I was there, they hadn't flip-flopped the 9s yet, but it was the 9th green was up on top of the hill when you first came in. I remember seeing a putting green for the first time, and I asked my dad, I go, how do they cut the grass that short? He goes, that's AstroTurf, right? But then your dad took really good care of me. I was 13 years old, and he let me work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, all summer long. But I mean it sincerely. I mean, your dad took really good care of me, really helped me out a lot. But how old were you when you first started? Just as in diapers, you were up there, right?
Yeah, I mean, as early as I could. I have a daughter now who's 2 in January, so she's right around 20 months.
Yeah.
And I got to imagine I was about the same size because I'm already trying to force a club into her hands and get her whacking a ball, and she watches me play all the time, so she kind of gets the concept, and I got to imagine it was pretty similar for me and my brothers.
By the way, your daughter's an absolute doll. She's beautiful.
She's an animal.
Yeah?
She's an animal.
Well, you got her own golf cart. So if she's 20 months and she's got her own golf cart,
she's already sinking putts too.
So that's what was so much fun about Rondout. For those of you guys that don't know, Rondout was a 9-hole course that was built in 1965 or something like that. And then in the early 80s, the families that will remain nameless, because I can't remember and I don't want to neglect anybody, but they bought up the course, they renovated it, and they turned it into an 18-hole course.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the stories about how they raised the money to build the back 9?
No.
So
that I can
So there was the old driving range, right? Yeah. And this driving range sat way up on a hill, and it went all the way down to a pond. And they all summer long they set up a stage, and they'd run major concerts there all summer long. And when you talk to the guys who used to work out there, they'd say they'd come in after a Friday night concert to play golf Saturday morning. There'd be like people sleeping on the driving range because the party never ended.
Amphitheater.
Yeah, man.
It was natural amphitheater. It was pretty sweet.
So when I started working there, it was your dad's first year. He'd just come off the road. He had that Ford Econoline van I think your grandpa gave to him or sold to him.
I took 2 spills off the top of that thing.
Did you?
Yeah, 2 headfirst dives. Dad got in trouble for those.
Well, it had a ladder on the back to get up to...
Yeah. So, Dad thought it was a good idea for me to wash the roof. I think when I was like 4 or 5, he said, get the roof clean.
So we definitely have something in common.
Yeah, because I remember that van. I have horror memories of that van.
So I waxed that van's roof a couple of times.
Oh, my God.
He'd put it down by the maintenance barn
But
in
you
the
weren't
shade.
4 years old.
No, but I was like 13, 14. So it's a big fiberglass top, and I'm up there with like turtle wax, like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. That thing must be 8 or 10 feet high to fall off of there.
Yeah, I remember taking a dive right off the front. And,
So very cool van. But like I said, I got a chance to work a lot up there. But I remember my first set of clubs were a set of Arnold Palmer True-Matics. It was 3 through pitch and wedge. It had the matching driver, 3-wood, 5-wood, and they were persimmons. Your dad gave me a putter that he had used on the tour. I didn't think he liked it very much, and that's why he gave it to me. He gave me a Cleveland wedge that had a dime-sized spot, like worn out of the middle of it, because he knew I wasn't going to hit that, and the rest of the face was fine. And there was an ultra leather staff bag, like a 10-inch staff bag made of leather and concrete, right? And it said John Deforest on the front. He took acetone, he wiped it off, and he spray painted it, and he put it together, and he sold it to me for like $3,200 or something like that. No, I'm kidding. But he cut me a fair price. But those were my clubs, man. I remember that first set of clubs. I was like 13, 14 years old.
That's awesome.
And just carrying this freaking massive bag around Rondout, man. It was the best. So you guys always there was always clubs coming down through the ranks. Yeah. Somebody was always the right size for those clubs. Do you remember some of those clubs of your youth, the ones that you were using?
I have a memory of using when TaylorMade first came out with like the R series. It was like a 320cc driver.
Yeah, humongous.
And I remember I was 12 or 13, and we were holding the drive chip and putt at Rondout. And I was like, I got to win this thing. I got to win the drive. So I remember sneaking in the shop and just taking one right off the rack. And it was like a senior flex 12 degree. The thing was perfect for a 12-year-old, right? Yeah. And I remember ripping that thing, and I think I took home longest drive that day.
That's awesome, man. So Rondout was kind of famous for competition. It was like a blue-collar person's golf course. There was a lot of plumbers and contractors that would come right off the job site in their work boots, throw on a pair of golf shoes, but they were excellent players. There was a lot of competition. There was some good money trading hands. But it was one of those places where I don't want to make it sound like it was degenerate, but gambling was a very prominent and important part of what was going on. I remember being like 16 years old and being in the pro shop one time, and number one, if it's the one that goes on the old side, it's the one that goes back towards towards Whitfield Road, not number one by the driving range. Yeah. But I got to the point where I said, "Oh, I can hit it inside the 150s," and somebody said, "No, you can't." I go, "Yeah, I can. I'm getting big. I can reach." And 20 people came out to the first tee, one ball. Everybody's trading money back and forth to see if I could knock it out there, and I did, but it wasn't in the fairway, and that was the deal, and I lost the money. But that's the kind of place it was, man. People would bet on a pigeon falling off.
I remember
a fence.
I used to just linger around the putting green when I was at it, even like 6, 8 years old, and try to bet my members for money.
And
I never had money.
Yep.
I never had money in my pocket. So like if I lost, then I'd just be like, "Oh, sorry, go talk to my dad." But most of the time I would win.
Yeah.
And I just remember the same thing. A lot of blue collar guys that just that was their little getaway to go have some fun and gamble a little bit.
But there was good players out there, man. There was guys that, I can remember guys like Bobby Decker. He'd come right out,
hammer the golf ball.
He'd come out off the paving truck and just hit the ball a mile.
Yeah, he's like Paul Bunyan, swinging an axe. Some of the.
Yep. And there was a guy, Andy Jankowski, who's I believe he was an electrician, an older guy, man, but he could get around the course like nobody's business, man. Yep. But there was Popper was awesome.
Popper was really good.
No kidding.
There's a lot of players. Yeah.
Knudsen.
Single digits. I mean, under fives for sure.
So it was funny because back in the day, it was like the blue collar guys of Rondout versus the IBM guys of Wiltwyck.
Yeah.
That was like it was almost like like Kingston versus Rondout baseball. It was that kind of thing. And today, it's a lot of those Rondout guys are right up there with the Wiltwyck guys, and they've made a really nice community that spilled over into the Swan.
They brought a lot of that camaraderie on the weekend morning games and stuff. They've really brought that big group together where you guys probably have like 16, 20 guys that play pretty consistently in a two-man game on the weekends and stuff, and that was all started at Rondout.
Shout out to superfan Jesse Kazikoff, who still wears his Rondout windbreaker on occasion.
The Kaz.
There you go. Right?
Yeah, he's got throwback gear for sure.
No kidding, man. So there's guys like Brabham and Bird. They're legacy guys. Steve Owens, Ed Maldonado. Yeah. Again, this is like
these guys raised me, man. I mean, I saw these guys more than I saw my dad. He was out working on the course. He had one of those unique roles where he became a part of the ownership of Rondout, around 2000, and really had to be very hands-on in order to get by. So a lot of times he was busy getting his hands dirty on the course where I couldn't really hang out with him there, and it meant just mixing it up with the members.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, there were such good guys. I just remember back to where they'd always be quick with a tip, but they would always be quick with like a piece of advice for you or something cool. I got a chance. I probably shouldn't name names, but one very famous George the Greek.
George the Greek.
George was a prolific player. Terrible swing. Probably one of the
terrible. He learned at Rondout, so this goes back to the gambling.
Yep.
Right? He picked up a golf club at Rondout. He decided to start playing, and back in the early 90s, there was a lot more gambling going on, I think.
Yeah.
And he was a 25-30 handicap or so, and he was just losing so much money. He was losing money every week. I mean, a lot of money that he learned. He had to teach himself how to play golf better.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the quality of golf was pretty high, because if it wasn't, then you were going to lose your shirt.
Yeah. And that, so I can remember you knew if George was on the course because, and this was metal spike days, but he had such a swing that he would literally twist his body around, and there'd be these like daisy spins like on the tee box, and you're like, oh, George is playing today. So once a year, George I was getting pretty good. I was down to like a 6 handicap. I was playing in the Hurtigan and stuff like that. And George says, my pal Hawk, you're getting pretty good. He goes, you and I are going to play. Yeah. And we're going to play, I forget what it was. To me, it felt like $1 million a hole. Whatever the number was, it felt like way more than I could handle. And what I appreciated about him is he threw me the ass kicking of my life. And we played once a year. We played 5 times. And he wouldn't take his foot off the pedal. He would throw me a beating. And I remember the one day handing like an obscene amount of money. I think I lost like 8 holes to the guy, right? And he took the money and he would take off his hat and he'd rub it in his hair. He says, "Thank you, Hawk." He put the money back. And a couple of weeks later, he'd go, go grab my clubs out of the car. I need you to wash them up. Make sure you do the shoes and the whole bit. Put them on the cart. And I would. And he'd throw me a $100 bill, which was way more. It was way more than I lost to him gambling.
George was the best.
It was good for a kid my age to get humbled, to get beat, and have to pay that. Yeah. And it was also good to be like, okay, he took care of me at the end.
I remember my dad telling me about taking George to I think it was a pro-am at like Westchester Country Club. And it was a 90-something yard par 3 where they're all spinning wedges off the green and stuff. And George hits one up there, and he had a funky swing that hit this big slice. And he sliced it up there, and it spun and went in. And my dad goes, "George, amazing shot. Like, what did you hit?" And he goes, 5-iron. That was like when he was like a 25 handicap, and that's as far as he could hit it because he had such a over-the-top, funky spin-out move that he's hitting 5-iron 95 yards.
I'm telling you, but what a competitor. And there were so many. I can remember guys that, like like sometimes they would come in like Friday night and they'd play cards in the back room Friday night, play golf all Saturday, cards all Saturday night, and golf all Sunday. You know, and you go and again, I'm a teenager and I'm like, how much money is passing hands? Everybody had new Cadillacs and stuff. It was just, dude, it was such a blast, you know. But I remember some of the characters that worked there, like Ernie Steinhofer, the green superintendent, and Ernie loved that course. He loved it very deeply, you know, and all he wanted to do was grow that grass the best he could, man. Who was the super when you were there?
At the end, there was Francis.
Okay.
Francis O'Donnell. Marty Williams was there for a little bit. He also spent some time at Hudson Valley. Charlie, what was Charlie's last name? He runs Camping World now. Champ Charlie. I'm hitting a blank. He was there for a little bit, but yeah, really, really quality staff. We always had an interesting crew down there.
It was always fun.
But you know, I think that Dad always took good care of him, and so he got a lot out of him because they really respected him.
So Rondout was I think in retrospect must have been a very hard course to maintain, for the pure fact that I think 14 holes had water on it, right? Almost every hole had a pond. But the irrigation was older, and I know they were always fighting the irrigation. It was always a priority when in the summertime and it got hot and dry. You know, the course would start getting crispy, and getting water where it seemed like there was water everywhere you turned. Getting it into the right spots was like a lot of work.
Yeah, I think that part of that kind of ties into you know, the group of members that funded building that back nine and then taking care of it there forward and built the back nine. Didn't completely know what they were doing. I mean, they were all blue-collar guys, and they could run an excavator and they could run a machine, no problem. But when it came to actual like golf course design and how to lay out the irrigation and these things, I think that I'm not sure they knew completely what they were up to out there.
Yeah. What's really cool though, I think, and again, I want to go back and tell some stories and stuff like this, but what Rondout, now that it's sold and it's become this, you know, world-class 9-hole course by this famous architect, a lot of those holes, a lot of the features that these guys with the excavators built, they're still there. Yeah. You know, I don't know the name of the architect that built the nest, like, you know, but I know he's got a lot.
King Collins. King Collins. So one of his most famous project to date is down in Chattanooga, and it's called Sweetens Cove. And that's like a world famous club at this point.
So built that from basically scratch, but took what with Rondout, condensed it down in the 9 holes, did some amazing things. I mean, don't get me wrong, but there's still you know, the old 13th hole is still the old 13th hole.
There's still three or four holes that are essentially from an aerial view are exactly the same. Then they added their funk on the ground to, you know, which is kind of their stamp on it, but the overall shape of the hole is the same.
I'll tell you what's I don't know if you get this, but when your dad was a major player in helping the course transition from Rondout to a nest, and was the first one to get things up and running there, and invited me and my family up to play. And he said, you know, it was a soft opening. He says, "What did you think of the course?" And I go, John, I said, "It's a nightmare." And he goes, I go, no, not like the way you're thinking. I said, you ever have that dream at night where you're somewhere that's real familiar, but it's completely different? Like the mountains are the same. You know, the terrain is basically the same, but it's a new course. And you're like, I must have played 10,000 rounds on this course. I know every inch and bump of it, and now it's a different course. On the same footprint. It just feels weird for those of us who've been there a long time.
It's very weird. And I've went out there a decent amount because my dad spent 3 years, I think, that Ennis was open, that he was running the golf as they were a functional golf club. And so I've probably spent, you know, 20 to 25 rounds out there. And it really doesn't feel like Rondout at all. No. Like you said, I see some views, I look at the mountain range and stuff, and I'm like, that feels like it. But then the second I look at my golf ball and this shot ahead of me, I'm like, I'm on Mars. I'm not at Rondout anymore, and it doesn't feel like Rondout. And, it's very interesting how they didn't change that much, but it can feel completely different just due to the way they kind of laid the land out.
So So you were talking about grabbing that R7. I'm sure you and we spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
And what's the old saying that idle hands are the devil's playground? And when you're there for 15, 18 hours a day and you're a kid, you're bound to find yourself in some trouble. I can remember they used to go in for 4th of July. They always had a connection to something, and they had some significant fireworks. I was probably 15 years old, and they said, come down, help us light these things off.
It's funny how we have slightly very similar but slightly different memories of the place, because by the time that I was growing up and have memories of the place, it really calmed down a lot. Like from the mid 80s to the mid 90s, it was pure chaos. I mean, I don't know if it would have survived with today's cell phones and everything that goes on in today's world.
I haven't thought.
I don't think those things can exist anymore.
No. I can remember being like 14 years old and driving a member home, like at 14, because that was the good decision at that point, But there was a bartender up there. His first name was John, greatest bartender I ever saw. And he was such a nice guy, and he wanted to learn how to play golf. So at night, after he was done, we'd go out and play. And when it rained, to me, rainy days at Rondout were the best. Everybody stayed away except for some key staff. Sometimes I never got a chance to play a lot with your dad. He was always so busy, and he was a big idol of mine. He just hit the ball so far, and he was such a good golfer. It was just all of us kids wanted to emulate him. And on rainy days, I'd get a chance to go out and play. But, you're a pro, that's your job, and you're like, it's raining, I'm going home. And I'd stay. There'd be one person on the course or a project. So John and I would hit balls off the dining room floor out the glass door onto the green, which back in my day was number 11. I think it was number 2 when you were there. But the carpet set up perfect. Yeah. And you could have a closest to the pin contest from the dining room all day.
Yeah, I remember every year the Calcutta, we would throw a mat right above the stairwell, right on the deck, and we'd have the closest to the pin contest. Everyone's a few cocktails in, and we're just hitting it right down the railings. And there were several balls that hit railings and came back, and there was holes in the siding. And I think I remember someone getting hit at some point.
Dude, it was loose. It was so much fun. And it was such a tight community. People just took care of each other. Like I said. By the way, the Calcutta, I put a $20 bet on Mickey Avery to win the Calcutta. And his team came in, and the way the Calcutta was structured, there weren't. If there was nobody bet on the team and that team came in, I won $6,000. I bought my first car with a $20 bet from the Calcutta, 86 Toyota Celica GT, 5-speed.
Look at
that thing was pretty sweet,
My favorite Calcutta story, going back to George the Greek, was it went into a playoff, and they did a couple holes of sudden death, and it was down to 2 teams, and to George, and I won't mention the other guy, but they hated each other. Yeah. And so my dad decided we're just going to do it closest to the pin, because this can't go on. It was getting dark. 100 yards out on the second hole, down below the range there, and George, the other 2 guys hit, and one of the guys hits it to 10 feet. Yeah. Now it's George and his partner left, and George's partner starts pulling his club out of his bag. George is like a 12, 13 handicap with a horrendous golf swing. Yeah. George grabs his arm, slams his club back in the bag, and he says, "Put him away. I got this." And we're all looking at each other cracking up, because they're 10 feet. There's a lot of pressure on these guys. George gets up, makes his slash. It was a slash at the golf ball. The ball isn't even halfway there. And he looks at the guy that he doesn't like, and he goes, "Case effing closed." Ball hits the green about 3 feet from the pin and just stops right there.
Oh, man.
It was absolutely one of the most epic clutch shots I've ever seen in my life, from one of the worst golf swings I've ever seen in my life. But he knew he was going to do it.
But that's the thing it was the confidence. He was such a gamer, dude. It didn't matter. It didn't matter the clubs. It didn't matter his swing. He was going to win. It was for young guys like you and me to be around George the Greek was inspiring, because you go, just pure will can make a champion. Yeah. He didn't have ability. He wasn't athletic even.
I think it played a huge part in so me and my 4 brothers all played Division I golf. And I mean, that's what we grew up with. Similar stories with George, where we go out and lose a couple bucks and they'd make you pay. Yeah. And we learned how to compete at a very young age. We didn't have a lot of money as a family, so we weren't traveling to AJGA events. We weren't traveling all over. A lot of that competition was from like Rondout members, and just having to kind of level up and at a young age.
Dude, it was so much fun. I think back to those days so fondly because, again, you really only had two things to do. You had some work to do around the course, and you had golf to play.
Yeah.
And there was always somebody looking for a match, and there was always somebody new to play with, and the course was great, and it was always challenging. And,
it's such a good layout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. And in today's world, I mean, just the new modern layouts are so different, and they're really trying to open things up. And I just remember just feeling like I had to go out and kind of stripe it at Rondout.
Yeah.
And it was a playmaker's course, and you had to have control of your ball, or else you're going to find a lot of those hazards you talked about.
Yeah. So the stretch on the back, I can remember, and again, we'll talk about when, again, I mentioned it, when I was a kid there, the first tee was in front of the pro shop, and then I think it's just because of the way the sun rose. In the morning, you'd be teeing off into like the blinding sun, you couldn't see it, so they moved it to the back. So if you use your contemporary tees, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 was just this epic nightmare.
Yeah, that was like the, that was our amen corner. Like that was where rounds were either made or they were ruined on that corner. I mean, 2 par 5s and a short 4. So if you're playing in a lot of those member games, you're playing the white tees, and a lot of the 2 5s were gettable, and the 14th was a drivable 4, but you had to go around some trees, and there was a pond, and I mean, you could walk out of there with 3 eagles or 3 doubles.
Yep, and matches were made and lost there, and they were so much fun. And when it got hard in the summertime, and that ball wouldn't stop, and
I've never seen fairways that firm.
No. And crowned. So 14 was crowned with a pond on each side. 15 was it rolled down into a pond, and then 15 was ponds on both sides and a peninsula green. You had to hit it in the middle, and you had to
shape. You had to shape the shots to get them to run the terrain properly. But I remember not getting a tee in the ground.
What was your best score at Rondout? Do you remember?
I shot a 63, I believe, was my lowest.
Oh my God, dude! Really?
Yeah, I think my lowest round ever was I had an 8 under on the back 9, and it got dark, and we couldn't turn to the front.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so that great round was ruined. I witnessed the course record. I witnessed one of my brother's college teammates shoot 62 the morning of my brother's wedding. Which was hysterical because we went out for 9 holes, and he turned in like 6 or 7 under, and my brother had to make the call like, honey, we're going to be a little late. You don't understand. He's 6 or 7 under right now.
Wow.
Like we need to stay.
He called and said, I'm going to be late to the wedding?
Because we need to see what Frank's going to shoot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Frank ripped off 10 birdies that day.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
So it was funny because I left Rondout in '92. I went to college and then became an insurance executive and had a family and didn't play golf for a while. But you guys were famous because the Deforest, you were in the paper, you were winning all the junior tournaments, you were dominating the high school, and then everybody went away to school. But I only got to see that through like the Kingston Freeman. Yeah. So hearing these stories makes me feel awesome because your dad held the course record for many years, and I think that was 65 or 66. Yeah. And then every one of you guys just came and dominated and like, hey, old man, get out of the way.
Yeah.
The 8 under on the back though, that's I can't even wrap my head around that. I was going to tell you about my 74 I shot, but I guess I'll save that for another podcast.
Yeah, and I birdied par 10. Yeah. And I birdied 11 through 18.
Really?
Yeah, so it was 8 in a row. There was no eagles in there, and I'm like, I tried to convince my dad. I'm like, well, the sun's going down, so I'm like, it's like a rain delay, just like in a tournament. I can pick up tomorrow morning, and he said, no, that doesn't fly.
It was funny because your dad is such a person of integrity, not just about the way he runs his business and the way he handles his life, but certainly about golf. And I can just remember being a kid and just having a tough day on the course. But I was out there by myself and I'm yelling and screaming. I'm probably no right to be doing this. I don't have any game anyway. And when I got back in, he kind of grabbed me by the shoulder and sat me down and was like, listen, dude, he's like, you represent the course, you represent me, and there's just no place for that kind of stuff in golf. And I still think about that when I'm yelling and screaming out there. I still haven't figured it out.
Yeah, he definitely tried to instill that in us, and wasn't very successful, unfortunately. We were a bunch of crybabies out there, and and that definitely wasn't his favorite. I remember, I'm not going to name which brother, but I think he started like bogey in the Herdigan on 1 and 2 at Wiltwyck, and after his second 3-putt on 2, he was whining, and my dad said, "Listen, if this isn't going to stop right now, then like I'm leaving." Yeah. And it didn't stop by the time they got to the third tee, and Dad was in his car leaving, and he left him out there all by himself.
There you go, man. There you go. So, like I said, we always talk about, these podcasts are supposed to be 15 minutes, and we get talking. The next thing, an hour scoots by. But I do want to talk about, your current project at the Swan. Like a lot of great courses. The Swan went dormant a little bit for a couple of years, and then when they decided to reopen, they recruited you from Silo Ridge, a famous course, and you came out. Do you want to tell us some of the things that have been going on at the Swan?
Yeah, when the Swan job presented itself, well, even the year before, I knew the owners, and I approached them and said, "Hey, if you guys ever want to do this thing, like, I'm your guy." I always wanted to be in the Hudson Valley. I loved what my dad had created at Rondout, and that whole atmosphere and the family and the camaraderie and everything. And for whatever reason, I always knew I wanted to be a golf pro, but was never drawn to like Westchester, Long Island. I always kind of wanted to be in this area, and I wanted to find that somewhere. So when the Swan job opened up, I said, I really want to be a part of this thing. I think it's a really fun golf course. It's an insane facility with a lot of potential on the events side of things, and just a lot going on there. So last year they brought me on in April, and we opened Father's Day weekend. So mid-June we opened. The golf course got to a point that we thought it was playable. And it was in decent enough shape to allow golfers. And it's been a 1.5-year process of continuously getting better, and really proud of what it's become. I mean, it's in phenomenal shape. They've really done a great job.
So I was just about to say, I mean, it's got a really groovy layout, a really fun, cool, playable course. You're up and down the mountain and stuff like this. But we got a chance to play with you not long after it opened, and it was in very good, very playable condition. Yeah. But then I'm playing other places, and I start hearing people talk about, have you heard about the Swan? Have you seen the greens at the Swan? Do you see the fairways at the Swan? Oh my God, the Swan's in unbelievable shape. Shout out to Mrs. Fury, because she's singing praises like nobody. So we come back out there. It's unbelievable what you guys have done with the condition of the course. I hope you don't mind. I've heard you guys have got some advice or some help from what do they call it, an ergonomics professional, the local gentleman who's helping.
So we've brought on Brent Paulson this year, who's done an unbelievable job kind of managing our staff, our maintenance staff, controlling our sprays and doing all that stuff. But I mean, really a lot of credit to the ownership for kind of creating a budget and sticking to it. And even in the beginning when things were a little bit slow, but just seeing kind of long term, we got to keep spending this money. We got to keep doing this to eventually have the product that we're proud of. And I think we're finally there, because the course is unbelievable. I mean, even now I go play. I mean, the greens are flying. Yeah, they're flying. We're having our pro-am on the 20th on Monday, and I'm so excited to get it set up in a tournament fashion and tournament ready and stuff, just with the pins and the tees, and just play it in its entirety.
So again, when you talk about pride, you guys should be proud. I mean, the amount of work and labor that it took to get that ready, and talking with some of the members and the folks that work out there, I mean, it's your leadership that I know a lot of people really appreciate. I was playing with somebody, and they said, "Oh, do you see these steps that go up to here?" They go, "Yeah." They go, "Andrew literally dug those in by hand." And again, that kind of goes back to your dad.
Shout out Steve Owens.
There you go. Yeah, I was gonna say,
Steve would not be proud of those steps. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, master bluestone mason.
Yeah, no.
But bottom line though is you're leading the way, not only with your knowledge and putting the tournaments together and stuff, but literally like, hey, we need an easier way to get up to this really cool tee. let me get a shovel and and some bluestone and get out there. Again, it just talks to your leadership and how fast you guys have made this, a premier destination in the Hudson Valley. So congratulations.
I appreciate that. I want to be there long term.
Yeah.
So that's all it comes down to. Like, how do I build this into something that, like, I'm not going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah. Not to bring it back to golf for a minute, but last year in the Pro-Am, you shot the Swan course record, right? Is that where the 59 came from?
That wasn't in the Pro-Am, but I did fire 59 last year. I don't even know how.
Yeah?
I have no clue how. It's just, I don't know. They talk about those days that, like, everything was just going in, and it was one of those days.
That's unbelievable to think about what it takes. And again, the Swan's not I'm putting well, so I'm going to shoot 59. I mean, it's a player's course. You got to shape the ball.
Yeah, you got to shape the ball, and there's definitely some local knowledge to it where it's just kind of, if you can avoid some trouble in some areas and play holes a certain way, you get your fair share of birdies, and I think that's why your everyday, call it bogey golfer really appreciates it and enjoys it, because you might go out there and you probably make 6 doubles and 6 pars, and then you got a couple birdie chances more so than other places where you go and you have 14 bogeys and 4 pars.
Yeah.
You get a little more variety on score, which is fun.
Yep. And if you have one of those days where everything magically comes together, it has the potential for a great score. I mean, not a 59, but that really is incredible. Last thing I got for you today, I just wanted to, from me and Mike, and again, we're missing Mike today, but want to thank you. I mean, as we embark on New York Golf and Fitness, and guys, we're this close to opening the doors.
It's amazing.
We really want to thank you from us for shepherding us through this. Mike and I, we have a social media presence, and we like playing golf. And that's about it, And so when this presented itself, we really did need a guide and a mentor. And you've been a lot more than that. Everything from, what the potentiality is to, what color the match should be. So, like I said, from all of us at New York Golf and Fitness, again, looking forward to continued partnerships now and in the future.
Yeah,
so thanks a lot.
Beyond excited to be a part of this thing, and excited for you guys, a couple good guys, and I know that golf is your passion, and it's really cool to see someone try to translate that into doing something for a living and creating this space. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful.
This will be fun. Like I said, it's been a blast so far, but there's been a lot of times where I know Mike's like texting you like at 4 in the morning, and then again at midnight going, "What do you think about this launch monitor? What do you think about this software?" And again, you've been absolutely awesome, dude. So I really appreciate it. But anything else? Anything I missed, or anything you want to add?
No, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, and stay tuned for what's to come here. It's going to be exciting, and this is the direction of where golf is heading, right? Like this is, for the people who don't know, indoor golf can be so beneficial to your games in so many more ways than you think. It's not about just staying fresh and like just. You can actually just get better.
Yeah.
It's not about just maintaining. I think it's a way to get better.
Yeah.
Every single time you get that immediate feedback in a controlled environment, which you don't get outside, and it's just absolutely, really helpful to be in here.
What did you, when you were in like high school golf and stuff? What did you do in the winter? So November rolls around.
I played ball.
Did you?
Yeah. We didn't do we would go south for a trip to Florida, but we wouldn't really play golf. It'd be like a Disney thing or something like that. But we really took the time away.
Yep.
Yeah.
So did you find yourself, like most of us amateur golfers or mere mortals, where I'm starting to play my best golf in the fall, it's the Northeast, November comes, I got the heavy jacket on, I can't swing anymore, then I don't pick up a club until March again, I'm kind of back where I started from. That's what I'm hoping this is going to cure for so many folks, is just like you're saying, I'm on my path to getting better, and then when October, November hits, I can get really good, and then I come out in March, and I'm a far superior golfer.
What else are you going to do?
What else are you going to do?
Like, what else are you going to do?
I'm not playing basketball, not at 5'6".
I'm not going to play basketball anymore. I feel like I need a wheelchair after that. I'm not going snowboarding. I'm coming in, I'm getting better at golf.
There you
That's
go.
what I love.
I think that's going to be the T-shirt. It's going to say, I got better at New York Golf and Fitness. And it really is whatever you want to get better at. Yeah. But we're going to see Andrew in the spring. He's going to be jacked, the six-pack. He's going to be like an Adonis, man. And I'm going to be able to straighten out that hook. So, like I said, we want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsors. Again, thank you to all the Mike Strantz courses, to Stonehouse, to Royal New Kent, Tobacco Road, Todd Hill Farm, Caledonia and True Blue, and especially the Steve Dresser School. Shout out to Stuart and Dave down there. If you're in the greater Myrtle Beach area, make sure you stop in and get your short game on and your long game. And if it's raining or if it's chilly out, get up to North Myrtle Beach. Go see Chris Griffin at the Mashie. He's got the world's best indoor golf institute in the greater northern Myrtle Beach area. It's an absolute blast. Go to Golf League, buy your shirt, put in just the tips. The new New York Golf and Fitness design will be dropping very soon, so you want to be on the lookout for that. And don't forget to go to the Swan. The fall foliage in the upstate, there's nothing better.
It's about to hit.
So when you're sitting up on top of number 6 and you're looking at the Catskill Mountains, you might have the best view of any golf course in the valley.
It's insane.
Yep.
Come check it out.
All right. Listen, go to the Swan. All right, guys. I'm Adam.
Andrew.
Just the tips. Yo!